Chapter 1. I was really going to lose weight this time, I decided. The last few years, the dreaded 30s, had piled pounds on me, but enough was enough. At over 220 pounds, I was an absolute ball of flesh, and at that rate, I would stay single for the rest of my life. I didn't want to do that. My internal clock was ticking and all that. So, I went out and got new tennis shoes, exercise clothes. I set an alarm for the ungodly hour of 7 a.m. Life as a freelance editor meant I set my own hours, and they were never before leisurely 10 a.m., and forced myself out of bed. I didn't want to run or even go for a jog. The birds were too loud and my bed too warm. Maybe late September wasn't the best time to start slimming down. Maybe if I just had 5 more minutes in bed, I'd be more motivated. I'd never lose weight that way, though. I did my stretches, put on my new exercise clothes, and stepped outside. All I had to do was put one foot in front of the other and start eating right, and the pounds would fall off. Right? "Good morning, Gina," my next-door neighbor Meredith called, waving a pudgy hand in my direction. She was the size I'd be in 20 years if I didn't get my weight reined in. A heavy apron belly preceded her wherever she went, and her ass was practically planetary. Her sides aside, she was a kindly woman who always had lemonade, cookies, and sage advice. "Good morning, Meredith," I answered, hoping that would be the end of it. I looked down the sidewalk, envisioning my feet power walking me down the road and onto a healthy life. I actually went nowhere. "You're up early this morning. I thought you weren't as much of an early riser." Did I mention Meredith seemed to know all the comings and goings on our street? She was the only neighborhood watch we needed. "I'm not, but I'm going to work out." I swallowed. I still hadn't moved. "Gotta lose some of this belly, find a man." I tried to laugh it off, but didn't quite. "Ah, I see. Well, I'd better let you go. My muffins are almost ready to come out of the oven," Meredith chuckled. Immediately my mouth watered. "Muffins?" I couldn't help asking. "The chocolate kind, with cinnamon streusel you love so much." Meredith paused, tilting her head. I could have sworn she was looking at my offending stomach. "Would you like one?" My stomach growled, already betraying all of my good intentions to get it the hell off of me. My belly was completely content, making me look like a lazy little lard ass. It was up to me to say no, to turn down those ooey gooey jumbo-sized muffins still hot from the oven that were so sinfully decadent and would only make my ass fatter. To this day, I have no memory of actually walking to Meredith's porch. One moment, I was still staring at the sidewalk with every thought of working out. The next, I was settling in on her wicker couch. "I suppose one couldn't hurt," I said. A voice in the back of my head reminded me I had literally never eaten just one of Meredith's neighborhood famous muffins. But I ignored that as my stomach growled. She patted my arm affectionately, a look almost like pride on her fat-framed face. "You just wait here, and I'll bring out the tray. I have cinnamon rolls, too, and coffee." Meredith heaved herself up and waddled out. Her breath labored from the strain of moving around such a large body as hers. It was the final warning for me to run or face the music. I'd be outgrowing my exercise clothes instead of shrinking to smaller ones. Of course, I stayed. When Meredith waddled back with the muffins in a basket and a warm tray of cinnamon rolls completely drowning in sugary glaze, just what the doctor hadn't ordered for me, and probably not for Meredith either, I knew my fate was sealed. The diet completely faded from my mind. "Can I help you carry anything in?" I offered, getting to my feet. "If you want to bring in the coffee tray and the cinnamon sugar butter, that would be wonderful, honey." "You got it." I went inside, savoring the chocolatey, cinnamony smell of Meredith's home. I brought the tray in and settled back down. My heart was pounding in my chest, knowing without a doubt I was about to eat a breakfast of champions, even if it was the diabetes championships. "So, tell me about this cinnamon butter," I said as I doctored my coffee. "Lots of cream and sugar for my fat ass, of course." "Oh, you have to try it. It's absolutely marvelous on the muffins. Brings out a whole new set of flavors." The wicker couch creaked as Meredith leaned forward. She cut one of the muffins open on a plate and put a generous smear of sugary butter on either side to let it melt and soak into the airy sponge. Then she added a few puffy, decadent cinnamon rolls, each of them larger than my hand, fingertips to wrist, and handed it to me. I knew it was everything I shouldn't be eating, but I couldn't resist. I hadn't gotten to my sides without an indulgent sweet tooth and a penchant for greasy foods, after all. I did what any certified sweets lover would do. I dug the hell in. My eyes closed in pure glee at the first warm, ooey-gooey, delectable bite of cinnamon roll. It was like getting a hug from a figurative grandmother. Maybe not either of mine, who were both long dead. Diabetic complications for one, a heart attack for the other. They would have slapped this roll out of my hand before I could trundle in their heavy footsteps. I shoved that thought out of my head. The taste and sheer goodness was like coming home. That was a better way to put it. Oh my goodness, Meredith. These are amazing. I think they might even beat out your muffins, I exclaimed between mouthfuls. I was already feeling like a glutton, taking big bites to make my cheeks chipmunk out. Drops of glaze were stuck to my pudgy cheeks. I had no shame in all hunger. Sue me. I'm so glad you think so, dear, Meredith cooed, sipping her coffee. Please help yourself. I made extras. I shouldn't, I weakly protested, already licking the glaze off my fingers and reaching for the buttered chocolate muffin. Once again, I unabashedly let out a moan of pleasure from the first bite. If the options given to me were sex or these baked goods, I would have chosen eating. It was another admission I quickly shoved out of my head. Nonsense. What's one day of eating going to do? Meredith placed another generously sized cinnamon roll on my plate. She could apparently see right through my defenses, and fuck it, but she was right. I did want to stuff my fat face. There's no judgment here, she added with a wink, almost as if she could read my thoughts. I honestly find it flattering. Well, I said slowly, even though I knew damn well my mind would have gone rogue from reason. In that case, I think I'll just keep going. And so, gentle reader, I proceeded to get stuffed. I ate 6 cinnamon rolls. Yes, the huge, sugary make Cinnabon look like sad canned mini rolls. Those cinnamon rolls. And another 4 triple chocolate muffins, each of them baked in the jumbo muffin cups that are supposed to be a generous single serving. 4, plus coffee. My breathing was shallow, my stomach fully distended. Halfway through, my high-waisted exercise leggings had slid down to my fat, bloated belly to rest at my hips. Now my racer top was threatening to ride up on me, too. I had bits of chocolate and glaze stuck all over my face, and I didn't think I could move. I had a fleeting image of myself pinned to Meredith's wicker chair while she kept plying me with food until I got even fatter than the old matron. The worst part was, even with how completely, painfully stuffed I'd become, I didn't think I could say no to more food. I really can't eat another bite, I bluffed anyway, clutching my enormous stomach. If I could actually wobble back home, I would be taking a nap in bed instead of working on my current editing project. It was good I'd already gotten far enough ahead in my work. I had no idea you had such a healthy appetite, Gina. I would have you over more often. Meredith giggled in amusement, her eyes definitely on my swollen belly now. Visions of insulin needles and dying alone and unloved danced in my head, but my unchecked gluttony had the reins. Well, now you know. Feel free to think of me whenever you need company, I joked, resting a hand on the crescent of my upper gut. It was firm like concrete, completely packed with food. I had overdone it so much, and I knew my waistline was going to pay for it. Actually, Meredith was still essentially talking to my gut, not me. Did I hear you say earlier you're single? I looked at her oddly, wondering just what she was up to. I am. Body clock's ticking and all that. She nodded. This might be odd, but I wonder if you'd be interested in meeting my son Peter. He's about your age, successful, charming, likes a good meal. Something about the way she said it set off warning bells in my head. She was scheming something more than a blind date setup, but I was too oblivious to see what it was. Blame it on my stomach ache, or just call me a space cadet. I genuinely missed the subtext. I don't usually go for blind dates with guys, I hedged. Oh, no, not a blind date. Just meeting him. See what you think. He's coming over for dinner tonight, and if you'd like to join us, I'd love to have you along. There it was, the appeal of more food. If Meredith's casual breakfast was this good, how absolutely diet-wreckingly amazing would dinner be? And not just a casual dinner, but an all-the-stops dinner made for her son? I'll be there, I agreed, but I'm not making any promises about dating yet. Of course, honey. Meredith patted my hand and struggled to her feet. Well, I guess I'd better get this cleaned up. And no, I don't need any help. You just digest and head out when you're ready. I'll see you tonight at 6. Bring your appetite. With those final words, Meredith ducked into the house with empty plates. After a few more labored breaths, I heaved myself up and staggered my way home to take a well-deserved nap. This has been Chapter 1 of Fatly Ever After, written by McCoy. If you enjoyed this first chapter, I would definitely recommend checking out her book on Smashwords. She's an author who does quite a bit with a world of fattening treats and delicious romance. Pick it up today, and honestly, she's going to become one of your favorites just like she's one of mine.